This is News Hour live on GBC News and GTV. Hello, good afternoon. You're welcome to the news. I am Suyokwo Hwakuchere. The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, is not happy about the decision of the First Deputy Speaker, Joseph Oseibusu, to overrule a decision he had taken. The Speaker had admitted a private member's motion filed by 3 minority MPs for a bipartisan committee to inquire into COVID-19 expenditures. However, when the Speaker left and the First Deputy Speaker took over, he dismissed the motion with the argument that the Speaker should not have admitted such a motion. In his formal communication to the House today, the Speaker said this was the second time the First Deputy Speaker had overruled a decision he had taken, describing it as unconstitutional, illegal and offensive. Parliamentary correspondent Bubu Klinogo joins us on phone with more details. Hello, Bubu.
Yeah, good afternoon, Soyoko.
Bubu, what more can you tell us about this development?
Yes, so Soyoko, what happened was that 3 minority MPs led by the minority leader Haruna Idrisu himself and the minority chief whip Alhaji Mutaka Mubarak and the ranking member on the finance committee, Dr. Kesilato Fosun, filed a private member's motion calling for a bipartisan committee to be chaired by a member of the minority to inquire into how COVID-19 funds were used since the outbreak of the disease in 2020. This motion was filed last year and it was admitted by the Speaker. And on daily basis, it was advertised in the other paper that it would be taken, but it has never been taken since last year. By yesterday, it was moved. The Speaker allowed the motion to be moved. And just after the motion was moved, the Speaker left the chair and the First Deputy Speaker took over. By that time, the minority had raised some preliminary objection to the motion. So the Deputy Majority Leader, Alex Ahonyo-Macken, said the motion is incompetent and that motion should not be admitted. And that what the 3 minority MPs are calling for is already catered for by the budget was rejected by the minority. The Speaker left, First Deputy Speaker came, and they overturned that decision. And he felt that he is not being respected by the First Deputy Speaker in that regard. So that was why he made some complaints about it this morning.
Okay, so Bubu, can you tell us if the Speaker declined to attend the First Deputy Speaker's ruling?
Yes, he said that even though he was not happy with that decision, he's not going to overturn it because that is exactly what he's complaining about. He says that it is not proper that if a Speaker is in the chair and takes a decision, a Deputy Speaker should come overturn it. And the same way, if a Further Speaker is in the chair and takes a decision, it is not proper for he, the Speaker, to overturn it. And so he was not going to overturn it, but he wants to register his displeasure that it is not a proper thing to do. And he feels that if a Speaker takes a decision and members are not happy, there is a procedure to follow to challenge the decision of the Speaker, and that is by a motion, a standing motion, and that he advised the minority that if they are not happy with what happened yesterday, they should follow the procedure, file a motion, a standing motion, and if the motion is admitted by the Speaker, it will be debated, and whatever has to be done, if the decision will be changed, then it will be a decision by the House. And that is what he's advising the minority to do, that they should go and file a motion if they so wish, so that the whole House will have the opportunity to debate the motion and take a decision on it.
All right. The absence of the MP for Dom Kwabenya in the House, Ms. Sarah Adjasafo, has generated discussions. So what are the lawmakers saying about the absence and the impact of government business?
Yes, so you know that this particular parliament is hanged because both sides have equal numbers in the House. The NDC 137, the majority 137, with one independent candidate who sided with the majority. But these days it's become difficult to take a decision because of the close nature of the numbers. The minority MPs in the House are almost always in full. The majority do not have the right number because some of them are ministers and they have to go for ministerial appointed duties, and so it's affecting decision in the House. And so the majority always wants all the members to be present. However, the MP for Don Kwabenya, Sarah Adjasafo, has been outside the country for so many weeks, and her absence is affecting the majority when they have to take a decision. because even in the absence of the Josaph, if all the other majority MPs, the 137 are in the House, and because it's the same number as the minority, the law says that if there is a vote and the votes are equal, it is a loss. And so anytime they want to take a decision, it's difficult. So they always want Josaph to come. However, because she's not coming, the MPs are now complaining. The majority MPs are now complaining because they feel that she's holding the whole government and party to ransom. And because they have made appeals to her on several occasions to calm down, she is not coming. And now what is happening is that some of them want to trigger some constitutional provisions. You know that the law says if you're MP and you absent yourself from sitting for 15 days without written permission from the Speaker, your seat can be declared vacant. And so some of the MPs from the majority side have talked about that, trying to trigger that process so that Joseph's seat can be declared vacant to pave way for a by-election for electing a new member to represent the people of Donkomia in the House. The MP must first refer to the disciplinary, the Privileges Committee of the House, and Privileges Committee will have to sit and hear from her. If she's not able to offer a reasonable explanation as to why she's been absent, it is then that a decision can be taken to recommend to the Speaker to declare her seat vacant. But for now, no official complaint has been made on the floor yet. It remains a talk among the MPs outside the chamber.
Okay, Bobo, before you go, we know that the Communications Committee of Parliament is expected to meet with the Director General of the National Identification Authority, Professor Ken Atefua, to answer questions about the ongoing Ghana card registration exercise. Has this happened yet?
Yes,
if it has, what was the outcome?
Yet, but to put it in right perspective, the NIA officials are not meeting just the Communication Committee. They are meeting the whole House. They meet, and we call it the Committee of the Whole. And it's going to be a closed-door meeting. According to order, it is been scheduled for 2 o'clock today, but it has not. The House is still in session. So any moment from now, the House will break, and then they will usher in the officials from the NIA to go into that closed-door discussions. And it is not open to the media and to the public, but we hope that after the meeting, they will be able to brief us as to whatever transpired in that meeting.
Bubu, thank you very much for the update on Parliament. And Bubu Kinogo is our parliamentary correspondent. Moving on, academic work at the University of Development Studies Tamale campus is scheduled to begin on Monday, February 28, 2022. A visit to the campus revealed that a significant number of students have gone home as a result of the strike action. But with the announcement, they are expected to come back to start lectures. Correspondent Mutala Issa has more in this report.
In a circular from the Registrar of the University for Development Studies indicating that lectures begin on Monday, February 28th. On campus, as you can see, the whole place is empty. We are told that some students have gone home as a result of the strike action. And so it is hoped that this circular, information will be sent to them to return to campus for lectures to begin. We have also been speaking with UTAG, Vice President for the Tamale campus of the UDS, and this is what he has to say.
So for academic work to actually begin, it is the university management that is actually supposed to issue a statement. We are thinking that our universities should also take a similar step like what KN UST have actually done. So when they issue a statement with regards to the commencement of academic activities, our appeal or our stand is that in the meantime, academic work can actually begin while we're actually taking all those other processes, so that until such time a decision is actually made. But in the meantime, what we are also telling government is that government to use this opportunity, because our suspension is more or less like a window that we have actually given to government. So government to use this opportunity within this period, that is what, the 2-week period, is to use that particular time to be able to meet us, to be able to engage us, to be able to negotiate with us so that we can be able to come to a consensus.
For most students, it's been quite a challenging period for them, especially for the first year students. Some of them have been telling us that they have even exhausted the feeding fee and the food that they have brought to campus for the academic work. And now that lectures are about beginning, they are not certain where the next meal is coming from.
I have to consult my parents because all the money they gave me and the food, I have used them and I learned nothing.
We are quite confused, you know, and then I would have been much happier if it was really cold off so that everything would go on as it used to be, and then lectures will start, everything. Unlike we come in and then they will just say, you're going to write exams, you're going to write mid-term, you're going to be pressured. And also currently the level 100 students, they've not gone for a class.
Mutsala Isa for GBC News.
The Ghana National Council of Private Schools, in collaboration with the National Teaching Council, has launched a training program for teachers. Under the auspices of the Ministry of Education, the program is dubbed Private School Teachers Continuous Professional Development. The program is to prepare private school teachers into the teaching profession through teacher competency, training for quality teaching and learning in Ghana. Joining us via Zoom to do more discussions is the National Executive Director of the Ghana National Council of Private Schools, Mr. Enoch Detua. Hello, good afternoon, sir, and thank you so much for joining us on News Hour.
Good afternoon, and let me use this opportunity to greet all your cherished afternoon, let's say viewers this afternoon.
So can you tell us what is the essence of the training?
Thank you very much. You know, for some number of years now, private education has been battling with the kind of teacher professionalism and the kind of workforce that we have in the school in terms of their professionalism. There has been a nationwide tag on private school teachers as people who are not, let's say, professionally trained or unskilled trained teachers. So as the mandate of the council responsible to ensure that teacher development in the private education is achieved, we have been engaging stakeholders in this call and to make sure that teachers in the private schools will meet the requisite standards that's set off by the Ministry of Education and its aligned agencies. So during the COVID time, the council made a call to the Ministry of Finance as a sort of support package that will be given to the private school teachers as a means to retain their lost, let's say, potentials in terms of the teaching deliveries. And the Ministry of Finance has accepted to come out to support the private schools in terms of financial packages to make sure that the private schools teachers who were badly hit during the COVID time will be given a sort of support. And last Monday, we launched this program together with the National Teaching Council, an agency responsible for teacher development and, let's say, teacher professionalism in the teaching space. So the content is being developed by National Teaching Council, and this is a pilot system to, let's say, give the professional teachers, or let's say a competency certificate to the private school teachers who will want to continue teaching the private school and build their competencies and ultimately merit a temporary certificate that meets the standards of the law.
So how long or what's the duration for this training?
If you look at the implementation strategy put in place or the implementation plan, we have a national training program, which we are currently doing it and is about to be ended this afternoon. And that is training 48 master trainers drawn from colleges of education and the, let's say, teacher universities across the country. And they will end the 4 days residential training today. From there, we are going to have intensive 2 weeks training in 24 centers across the country created as a learning boot or training centers for the private schools. So basically, we will engage the private schools for 2 weeks, and the Ministry of Education will cater for their accommodation, feeding, and the tuition costs and all the necessary financial components that comes with it.
So government introduced a number of reforms in the education sector. Has the National Council for Private Schools been engaged in these reforms?
Since 2017, that the council was formed, the council has been brought to most of the decision tables, right from the office of the president to the ministerial point of view and the subcommittee point of view. Sometimes we do, let's say, involve ourselves in the decision making. Sometimes also, like the calendar wise and all those things. That is what we know very well, that there was a slip over. The ministry were not able to consult most of the stakeholders, and we were not also consulted. But in terms of issues bordering private schools, the council has been very active in decision makings, and we have also equally given our best in terms of the input and other advice that we have to give it to the ministry.
Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Enoch Jetwa, and he's Executive Director for the Ghana National Council of Private Schools. You're still watching News Hour, coming to you live on GBC News and GTV. The continuous absence of the MP for Dom Kwabinya, Ms. Sarah Adjasafo from Parliament, continues to generate lots of discussion in the public domain. In the past couple of weeks, MPs from the majority side say with Ghana's hung parliament, the gender minister's absence is adversely affecting government business in parliament. Panelists on our current affairs program Focus discuss the impact of her absence and the passage of the e-levy bill, which is still being considered by the lawmakers.
She wants the deputy majority leader to be removed, and she replaced, she was the deputy majority leader. She be brought back. And so these are things that falls within the remit of the party itself. And so that's also another thing that ought to be looked at. Either we're going to accept it or we reject it outrightly. We've not taken a decision on that yet.
If they sack Adjasafo,
yes,
it doesn't make her seat automatically vacant.
Why?
Someone would have to petition the speaker, and the speaker will refer the petition to the appropriate committee in parliament. In this case, Privileges Committee. Now, if Privileges Committee decide that yes, let's declare her seat vacant, they would have to refer it to plenary, that is the whole house. And the whole house must debate and vote. And 2/3 of members of parliament must agree to the decision to declare the seat vacant.
Indeed, if Adjasafo is found to have absented herself for 15 sittings without permission, then nobody in this country should support her. It should serve as deterrent for subsequent, MPs to come.
And still on GBC's current affairs program Focus, an NPP communication member, Mr. George Eyisi, has condemned the recorded chaos at Menchia North and other places over the alleged hoarding of nomination forms for polling station executives and electoral area coordinators elections. Due to the February 19 disturbances, the New Patriotic Party has extended the date for the sale of nomination forms.
It is not right. It is not proper. We condemn those who engage in that. But, George, it is, forgive me, but it's like the selfish interest of some people in executive position in their constituencies is what is precipitating some of these things. How come? I'm happy the party leadership is taking a position that every person who wants to contest must be given access to the forms to go and fill and then file for the position. Okay? Do you know why? these people who are going to file and contest and be elected as polling station executives, they are going to form the foundation of the party's electoral processes going forward. They are going to form the core to elect our electoral area coordinators. Yeah. And then they will elect, with the coordinators, elect the constituency executives. Okay? Then the constituency executives are going to form a core to elect the regional executives minus these people. Then when it gets to the flag bearer and parliamentary candidates, these people, they form the majority. That's the polling station executives. They are going to decide who becomes the flag bearer of the party and then parliamentary candidate in the various constituencies. So they are very powerful. And people want to get people who will toe their line and then maybe consequently elect them as constituency executives.
We now take you over to the Bono East region, where our reporter Samuel Ayama is joining us live to give us a report on the issue of unlawful entry through the country's borders.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Soyoko. I'm here in the Bono East region, that is Techiman, Kintampo. That is the two busiest towns in the region. Even though the country closed its borders some time ago, and as we speak, the borders has not been open to human traffic, but we still find some foreigners here in this part of the country, and we are told they have been passing through unapproved routes. With me here is the regional commander for the Bono East region, ACP, Enoch, ACI Enoch Abrokwa, to explain or tell us the measures they are putting in place to solve or resolve that particular issue. So, sir, tell us, what are you doing currently in terms of making sure that foreigners don't find themselves in this country now that borders have been closed?
Thank you very much. And my greetings to your listeners. What we are doing now is to ensure that those who use unapproved routes don't find their way to the southern part of Ghana. What is happening now is that most of them use motorbikes and then they trickle in feet into the country through unapproved routes. They converge at a particular point, and then our own people look for buses for them to transport them to the southern part of the country. Now, what we are doing now is to mount inland checkpoints. We have one at Tanobasi, and then we have one at a place called Krobo in the Setiman municipality. Now, what we do is to screen those buses coming from the north. And it will interest you to know that last year, we were able to apprehend 324 ECOWAS nationals who traveled through unapproved routes and were on their way to the south. We had to repatriate them to their home origin. So currently, we have two main checkpoints. One at Krobo to take care of those who come through the Wa catchment area. That is Hamile and the other entry points. Those who don't use the borders and then use, because when you use that route, definitely you will enter the Chiman through Krobo. And my men are there to apprehend them and send them back. Then on the Kintampo Techimai Highway, we also have another checkpoint where we also apprehend them and then send them back. So currently, this is what we are doing. And I can assure you that officers at the main borders in the north are also alert and are also working well to ensure that there is peace in the country.
You've just commissioned with an office here in Tampa North. And how will this go a long way to support or make sure you play your roles effectively?
This office complex that we have commissioned is serving as the headquarters for the Bono East. And now that we have established ourselves here, most of the buses that use the Wipe route normally stops at the main station here. So we have deployed men to the main station to also screen the passengers who come in, even before they get to Tano Bus. And we hope that this exercise will also go a long way for us to apprehend those who enter through the tunnel.
Okay, we also find out that security is a shared responsibility. How is your outfit collaborating with your other colleague security agencies and the general public to make sure that you carry your work effectively or you do what you are supposed to do?
Yes, indeed. Security is a shared responsibility. And we are in touch with all the security agencies in the Kintampo municipality. Most of our operations, if we are hard up, we contact the other security agencies, fire service, police, to assist us in our operation. I remember we had one at Chobodong where about 60 Nigerians are converged there. We had to get the assistance of the local chief, NIB, fire service, police to assist us apprehend them and then send them back. So we work together. NIB most often than not supply information for us to also follow it up and then apprehend suspects. So I can say that we collaborate among ourselves. That is why during the commissioning, you find the fire regional commander available, NIB, police, and all the state security agencies here with me.
Finally, do you have issues concerning sex workers, which is illegal in this country?
I would say for now, it is initially when the regime was established, we did an operation to push out all the Nigerian sex workers who were in and around Nkranza, Techiman, Kintampo, and other areas. So, well, I cannot say we have been able to flush all of them out, but most of them have been cleared, and we don't have any of them around now.
Thank you very much. We have been speaking with ACI Enoch Abrokwa Anok. He is the Bono East Regional Commander of the Ghana Immigration Service. We will end it here and then continue to monitor the security situation in the region. For GBC News, Samuel Ayama, Bono East, Kintampo.
Thank you very much, Samuel. At an inaugural ceremony to receive 6 new technical committees of the Engineering Council Ghana into office, the Minister for Works and Housing, Mr. Francis Asenso-Boakye, said Ghanaians must put engineers to checks for better results.
The various committees include the Finance and Administration, Licensing and Registration, Discipline, Ethics and Legal. The rest are Education and Training, Standards and Professional Practice, and the Public and International Affairs. The Registrar of the Engineers Council, Mr. Wise Amedepe, charged the Public and International Affairs Committee to engage in a massive sensitization about the Council for Ghanaians to know and appreciate the agency. The acting chairperson of the Engineers Council, Professor Mark Adoasamoah, said any person who practices engineering must register with the Council by law. The Minister for Works and Housing, Mr. Francis Asenso-Boakye, urged Ghanaians to put engineers to checks.
Members of the public could also assist in this effort by reporting defective works to the Council so appropriate and timely corrective measures can be taken.
The law, which establishes the Engineering Council Ghana, is an Act of Parliament, 2011 Act 819. Its mandate is to register, license and certify practitioners in the service. The Engineering Council Ghana envisions to ensure the highest professional standards in the practice of engineering for society and national development.
Parking or stopping a tractor-trailer on the shoulder of a roadway creates a hazard for the motoring public and is generally prohibited by trucking company safety policies. The most critical factor is the desertion and unlawful parking of trucks and trailers in the middle of roads without being told and without any visible reflectors to signal approaching vehicles of the danger ahead. This report is a reminder of the dangerous situations that may occur when parked on the shoulder of a roadway, a common practice on major roads in Ghana.
Conditions. Shoulders are intended to provide a space of relative safety beyond the travel lanes for vehicles that break down. They also serve as a clear zone for drivers to take emergency maneuvers to avoid a crash. Shoulders can also satisfy these critical safety purposes if they are clear and unobstructed. Unlawful parking of trucks and trailers along major roads in Ghana continue to pose threats to road safety. High number of casualties in some accidents are believed to be as a result of prevalence of trucks and trailers breakdown on major roads. These trucks are normally parked or left wherever they developed a fault, whether in the middle of the road, on the shoulders of the road, or in their lanes without visible reflectors. Usually these trucks are loaded with goods. Others may be offloading goods on the shoulders of the road. Situations like these make the intersection narrow and also block highways. A Kumasi-bound Kia Grand Bed bus from Bolgatanga was involved in an accident on the Kintampo-Techiman Road at a point close to the Tuobodom Senior High School in the Techiman North District of Bono East region when it ran into a breakdown articulator DAF truck loaded with stationery from Burkina Faso on Wednesday, January 19, 2022. On New Year's Eve, the police in Akuse mounted a search for a tipper truck driver who parked on the edge of the road without reflectors, hence causing an accident, claiming 9 lives. 232 Ghanaians have died in road crashes in January 2022 alone. The figure from the National Road Safety Authority, although is a reduction to that of the same period last year, the crashes associated with shoulder parking is still a huge challenge to safety authorities.
An old woman believed to be in her 80s went missing and is now in the custody of the Department of Social Welfare, South Municipal Assembly. Madame Akosia Kujogbe says she lives with her daughter and husband at Papasi in the Kajebi district of the Oti region. Her daughter went to the market and never returned home. In an effort to trace her, Madame Akosia also lost her way and finally found herself in Accra.
Madame Akosia Kujogbe was found loitering at Domiabra in Kaswa and was sent to the English Yamanfrom police station. She says she has been in Accra for almost a week now, but doesn't know how she got to the city. About a week ago, the old lady boarded a car in her hometown in the Oti region and went searching for her daughter, Afiklu, a banana trader who had gone to the market to sell but never returned home. In the process of searching for her daughter, Madame Akosia Kujogbe found herself in Accra. She is now in the custody of the Department of Social Welfare, South Municipal Assembly. Anyone who can find her relatives should contact the following lines: 0543 416282 or 0243 318417.
You're still watching News Hour live on GBC News and GTV. We're taking a short break. We'll be back with the business segment. Please don't go away.
Good afternoon and welcome. Time now for the business segment, and I'm Dorothy Ajamai. Ghana's trade surplus is expected to narrow to $1 billion in 2022 from $1.1 billion recorded in 2021. The continuous rise in consumer-driven imports has been cited as a factor for the decrease in trade balance. However, according to the trade advocacy group Ghana TAG, the depreciation of the cedi against major trading currencies, especially the dollar, is negatively affecting imports into the country. We have on the line the president of the Trade Advocacy Group Ghana, Mr. David Amoateng, to give us more details. Good afternoon and welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, my dear.
Now, benchmark values on goods reduced to 30% and 10% for vehicles. What is your opinion on that?
Let me say good afternoon to the Traders Advocacy Group members.
Yes, sir.
And good afternoon to you. Well, we received the news with a shock because that is not what we agreed when we went to the roundtable discussion. We were of the view that in as much as the government in its own wisdom gave us these benchmark values, the discounted one, the time and season that we find ourselves is not the time for them to do the reversal. So we were saying what we tabled when we went to that discussion was for them to hold on. Because, see, the pandemic that we find ourselves, now look at the dollar. Now the dollar is above 7. So where are we rushing to? Can't we hold on? Listen, we first made a press conference telling the whole world, a trader will continue and forever be a trader. We can always do the passing on, but it will not help. In as much as I am importer, I also buy something in the market. Because I do shoes and furniture. If I'm going to buy rice, that rice is imported. If the person is supposed to pass it, I'm going to feel the heat.
Right.
And the time and the season that we find ourselves, we were urging the government to put hold on these benchmark values. Now, if we say we reduce it to 30% and 10%, 30 plus 50 is 80. You get it?
Yes, sir.
We were having 50%. So if you say then that the additional 50%, you have reduced it to 30%, it is 30 plus 50, making 80.
Right. You mentioned the dollar. So I want to find out, how has the poor performance of the cedi against the dollar affected imports?
Obviously, it will affect imports because then when we were exchanging last year, we forecast even 6. And going into this year, we thought we would not do even 6.5 at the end of December. By here, we find ourselves in February, and we have gone past 7.
Yes.
And nobody is talking about it. The finance minister is not talking about it. The vice president is not talking about it. The economic management team, they are not talking about it. As if nobody cares. And every day the dollar is going up. And what our imagination, our Traders Advocacy Group, can the government peg the dollar at the port of duty when we do our duty, like Tamaport and Takoradi Port? Can the government say, okay, the next 3 months, the dollar rate for clearance is 6.5. And every day, every week, the dollar keeps going, the rate at the port keep going up. And nobody is talking about it. Why?
Okay, so how has the spike in freight charges by shipping lines compounded the dip in the value of the cedi in imports business?
Come again.
I'm asking that, how has the spike in freight charges affected your business?
Oh, freight charges, before the pandemic, 40-meter container, we were doing $3,000, $3,500. But now we are doing $15,000. It is now that it came down about $12,000. And aside this, benchmark value that we thought it would be kept on hold, Now we just received a communique. And I thank God my association name was not part in that communique, because that is not what we discussed.
Okay.
And that is not what we were expecting. Now, if you are paying something that you were doing $3,000, $3,500, now we are doing $12,000. And now look at where the dollar is. So now a Ghanaian trader find himself in a dilemma.
Okay.
We don't know whether to stop the imports and the little that we have, put it in a fixed deposit account or what. We don't know what to do again.
Okay, so before I allow you to go, having been in the business sector for a while, what would you suggest government do to solve the problem?
We suggest that the government should come out. The loud silence of the government is worrying. The loud silence of the vice president is worrying. The loud silence of the finance minister is worrying. They should come out and tell us something. And something can be done. Because, my dear, if government say that clearing your goods from the port, the next 6 months, you have spent the dollar 6.5. It will even help the dollar, it will even come down small. And now it seems that nobody cares. Because we are not hearing anything from any quarter. And it's like everybody is doing what he or she likes. And let me tell the Ghanaian citizen, where the dollar is taking the business community to, please, when you come to the market, it is not that intentionally we want to increase product. But where we find ourselves, there's nothing we can do. If indeed we want to be in business, then I think the best thing and the good thing for us to do is also adjust our prices more.
Thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate that. That will be all for now. That was the president of the Trade Advocacy Group Ghana, Mr. David Amoating, explaining to us how the high dollar rate has affected trade, and they are asking government to hold on with a reduction of the benchmark value. From 1st April 2022, all betting and gaming agencies, e-VAT invoicing, e-commerce and properties will be taxed. This forms part of the tax policy measures to ensure fiscal stability and sustainability in Ghana. The Auditor General, Mr. Johnson Ekuamuasiedu, said this at the launch of the 2021 financial year audits here in Accra.
For us as auditors, we report based on evidence we have gathered. We don't cry wolf when we haven't seen one. So what I mean is that corruption affects the nation as a whole, not individuals. So if you are fighting it, I shouldn't look at the color of your dress to just perceive that you are corrupt or not. We shouldn't fight on the colors of politics. You see, we are fighting corruption as citizens of our nation. This will enable us to gather the enough evidence required, to bring those offenders to book. It's not a one-day thing. It must be continuous. It's not just by word of mouth. It must be followed by action. If you look at our irregularities, you have to go into the pages of the report. If you say cash irregularity, it could be that there's an expenditure, we were looking for payment voucher, you couldn't produce it. Subsequently, if you produce a payment voucher, we don't have a problem. So our duty is to report all the irregularities we find. If you want to know the actual money that has not been accounted for, you flip the pages and go into each observation that we made. And it will give you an idea that, no, this money is likely to have been misappropriated. The heads of institutions are showing interest in whatever goes on. They give in financial reporting every day, every week, or every month, as the case may be. The accountant will know that there is supervision over the activities, and we believe it will minimize the incidence of these infractions.
You're still watching the business segment of news. Let's have the performance of the local currency on the forex market and the prices of gold, cocoa, and light crude from the commodity.